Demolition work is underway inside a downtown Tyler building that will soon come down altogether. We're talking about the old Regions Bank lobby at the corner of Ferguson and Broadway, which sits right across the street from the Smith County Courthouse and KLTV. The plan here is to tear down this one-story building but leave the 12-story tower that sits behind it. The property owner says Regions has consolidated operations inside the tower, leaving the lobby vacant and functionally obsolete. With 12,000 square feet of space inside this one-story building with high ceilings. As we previously reported, talks are underway to build a new boutique hotel on the site, but it's not a done deal. In the meantime, after the building is demolished down to the dirt, the plan is to seed and sprinkle it and create a park. Katie?